Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. I'm a 15-year-old male, and I've been raised by my dad, 38, all my life. My mom had left us when I was too young to develop a proper memory. For years, my dad and I have been everything to each other. However, things started changing when my dad met a girl at work who had just joined. There was an instant attraction between the two of them, and Dad started going out more and more, leaving me to mind the house by myself, which was no hardship since I enjoyed staying at home alone. Complications arose when Dad announced that he was getting married to that girl. Honestly, I had never expected my dad to stay single all his life. He was still pretty young and had good money and was educated. I knew that someday a new wife would be forcing herself into our family, and honestly, I was happy that my dad had decided to remarry. But after getting to know the girl, I was less enthused about the whole idea. I told my dad my honest opinion that I felt like she hated me, but he was blinded in love. He told me to quit worrying about non existent things. When my dad decided to marry her against my advice, I knew that things would be changing soon around the house. My new stepmom and stepsister would ensure that my home never remained my sanctuary anymore. Both of them behaved equally badly towards me. While my new stepmom decided to pretend that I simply don't exist, my stepsister simply treated me as a being who was beneath her in every way. I was hurt that my father seemed to consciously turn a blind eye to this. After the entire marriage ceremony, I finally managed to corner my dad alone and decided to speak my mind. I honestly told him that his decision to marry someone who was so openly hurtful to me was unexpected and rather hurtful of him. I had expected him, out of all people, to have my back in this situation instead of throwing me to the wolves. My dad only told me that he had managed to fall in love again after a long time, and as his son, I should be supportive of that, not trying to break his relationship. I knew that something would be done about me at this stage, seeing as neither my stepmom nor my stepsister wanted me around for anything at all. I had a feeling that I would be kicked out sooner than later, and I was holding on to the hope that my dad still loves me to soothe my fears and to reassure myself that he would never choose someone he had just decided to make his family over the son he had raised for all these years. Boy, was I wrong. The very next day, my father called me to his room and told me that since I am deliberately making things difficult for his new wife and stepchild, he had made the decision to do something about me. My stepsister had been complaining about how much I bullied her to her mother every single day, and my stepmom was telling my dad how unfair it was that they got to be treated as outsiders by his son while I went around unpunished with my actions unchecked. I honestly told my father that there had been no bullying from my side at all. I tried to explain to him that my stepsister was the one bullying me at every stage, while her mother made her disdain for me pretty clear every single day. I begged my dad to believe my words, but he didn't seem inclined to do so. He told me that since my stepmom was an adult, her words hold more weightage than me, and whatever decision she made regarding me, he would support completely. My stepmom seemed to look smug for a moment before placing her demands in front of my dad. She told him that she wanted me removed from the house forever. She told him that it was unfair that I got to mistreat her and her daughter with no consequence, and the only way she could see of protecting herself and her daughter was to throw me out in the streets. She gave my dad an ultimatum. If he didn't throw me out on the streets, she would be sending him the divorce papers by the end of the week. Of course, my dad was completely within her grip for her to manipulate at will. He quickly told her that he had no problems kicking me out as long as she stayed with him. I was shocked, but in the back of my head, I had known that if worse came to worse, my dad never had enough backbone to pick me, his son, over his new wife. I told him honestly that he was making a big mistake and she would show her true colors to him soon enough, but I would be waiting to forgive him that day. He apologized to me, but told me to get out of the house because he couldn't risk losing his new wife. Honestly, I had expected my father to be spineless, but it hurt a lot. It almost seemed like he never had any true emotions for me and only ever loved his wife. A few months had passed. I was homeless for a bit before I found myself a sanctuary in a cafe where I began to wait tables in exchange for money and was allowed to sleep inside it when the owner found out that I was homeless. The kindness of the owner of the cafe was more than I could repay, and I was genuinely thankful. However, someone I had been trying to push out of my life has reappeared today. I saw my stepmom step into the cafe and sit down with her ex-husband, who I knew from pictures and who we all knew to have passed away 3 years ago, to discuss something while drinking coffee. They both seemed very passionate about the discussion, and I secretly clicked enough pictures on my mobile to create a solid evidence against her. Now, I really want to show my dad these pictures and tell him that she has been cheating, just so that he confronts her and she tries to find an excuse for her husband being alive and well. Let's see what happens when I frame her for cheating. So I went to my father today and managed to catch him just as he was leaving for work. I confronted him with all the pictures I had and told him that I had caught them making out and she was definitely cheating on him. I threatened to go to the local daily with this story and make sure it got published as a story of a wife cheating on her husband. My dad kept telling me that we are family and doing something like that only ruins my own reputation. Where was this familial love when I was thrown out in the streets? I told him that if he wants to confront her, he can. I might have gone overboard with the lying and fabricating facts, but I was really angry. I wanted my dad to see the true faces of my stepmother and stepsister. My dad told me that he wanted to confront them with me in the vicinity so that I could show all the evidence in front of them. I agreed. He tried to apologize to me through tears, but what is broken once cannot be rebuilt so easily. My father had broken my trust, and I would never trust him again. He had taught me to stop believing in people and shown me how much of a chameleon he was. So I was not going to trust him ever again or come back to live with him. He made his own bed. Now he must lie in it. I have no sympathy for him, seeing as he hurts me just as much as his new wife and kid did. I'm waiting for them to return home so that everything can be out in the open and I can get out of the house forever this time. My dad seems genuinely apologetic, but it's not that easy to forgive a man who threw you out in the streets with nothing just because his wife told him to. I cried and begged my dad to not do it, but he had no sympathy for me that day. Since then, my emotions for him shriveled up and died. All I felt in the moment when looking at him was contempt for the man who gave up his own flesh and blood, the man weak enough to be swayed by temptation. I am glad that I took this step. Stepmom and stepsister have returned home. They were surprised and not too pleased to see me waiting for them. My dad confronted them about everything I said, and I relished the look of momentary panic on my stepmom's face before she covered it up smoothly. She denied all the accusations and told him that I was lying. The pictures were fake and had been created by me in order to get back at her. At this point, I was honestly tired of her shenanigans. I lied outright and told my father that I had seen her making out with her ex-husband in the cafe. That seemed to finally get a ride out of her, as she quickly claimed that she hadn't done anything of that sort and it was a platonic discussion. Then she realized that she practically gave herself away. She confessed that her ex-husband was alive, but she didn't want him to meet my dad because he would tell my dad the truth about my stepmom. She had drained him dry of his wealth after marrying him and then divorced him to find someone new to manipulate. She knew that if her ex told my dad about this, she wouldn't have a chance of marrying him. She had deliberately told him that her ex was dead to gain sympathy and be sure that he would never ask to meet up with him. However, her ex got to know about her actions and decided to blackmail her. He gave her an ultimatum that if she didn't bring her daughter to meet him every week, he would tell the entire world the truth of her manipulation tactics. She agreed because it was the only way to protect her marriage until she got what she wanted from my dad. My dad was shocked and betrayed. He realized that he should have sided with me all those months ago, but it was too late now. He told her to leave his house and he would finalize the divorce later. Then he apologized to me and asked me to move back. I have said yes, obviously. I have seen the man let me down once. I have no guarantee it won't happen again. I simply hope to never meet him ever again, as I have got my revenge. Lying about cheating seems a bit excessive, but the stepmom had done crimes that deserve much worse. I hope OP gets the life he deserves. Not all parents deserve children, and OP's father proves this. OP did the right thing. In his position, I would have simply submitted the evidence to the local daily without even going to the father. If you are publicly embarrassed, you deserve it for hurting me. My brother, 23, and his girlfriend, 23, are Catholic. They decided not to go to a family friend's wedding, a guy he grew up with, because it's not held in the Catholic Church. His friend was raised Catholic, and even though he doesn't consider himself Catholic anymore, other Catholics aren't allowed to go to support it. They can go to any other religion or secular wedding as long as the participants aren't Catholics. But Catholics tend to draw the line at other Catholics who have left. Currently, his girlfriend lives with me, 25, my wife, and another roommate because she moved to another state for my brother, and as Catholics, they can't live together before marriage. She's been living with us for a year. The thing is, she's never home. She basically lives with my brother right now, but only in the name of the Lord, if you know what I mean. She uses this as a technicality. I also know way too much and know they have sex. I am completely fine with this. I'm not Catholic, so I wasn't going to hold them to anything. They weren't hurting anyone. But now they aren't going to their friend's wedding because of some pretty archaic, ridiculous Catholic rules, while simultaneously breaking them where it's convenient. My other brother, 30, has spoken to them. He's pretty pissed, but I thought about sitting them down and letting them know I'm not okay with this. I'm uncomfortable with them breaking rules when it's convenient for them, then turn around and follow rules that hurt others. To get to the point, I was thinking about letting them know that if they continue having sex and living together, then his girlfriend is going to have to find another place to move her stuff. I won't take part in their hypocrisy when it hurts others. Some info that might be nice. Me, my wife, and roommate are all on the lease, but his girlfriend's stay was supposed to be temporary, so she was never put on it. On top of this, my sister, 21, is hurting because she isn't going to get married in the church. She doesn't have anyone yet, but she is vehemently against his organization. So she is wondering if they won't come to hers. Here's where I might be the a-hole. I don't know if his girlfriend has another place to go. She's the super Catholic one. My brother had left the church before she came into his life, so I know his decision was heavily influenced by her. I'm angry and uncomfortable because they are cherry-picking what they want to follow, and my oldest brother was heavily affected when his friends abandoned him for almost getting married outside the church. My younger brother saw what it did to my brother when his friends abandoned him, and he plans to do the same thing to someone else when he is breaking some pretty major Catholic rules that literally everyone breaks anyways. So would I be the a-hole? NTA. It all comes down to you not being comfortable with a person living in your home, and rightfully so. The whole wrong for thee, but not for me attitude is disgusting. But do it legally. There are rights that she has just by being a squatter, so make sure you do it the right way. NTA. They want to bend the rules to work for them, but when it comes down to it, they're good Christian people. I'm in the military, getting out in a year, so I'm doing my best to save up as much leave and money as possible so I can transition relatively stress-free and have as much time and cushion as I need to get myself set up. My sis, Jenna, knows about this. It's important because she was supposed to get married last Saturday, asked me to be her bro of honor in her wedding party, said yes, no problem. For this, I had to get leave approved, buy a suit, plane ticket, arrange transportation to from airports, hotel during her wedding, board for my dog and someone to go to my apartment and care for my chinchilla since I'd be gone a week. She knew my leave days and text to remind her before I flew out. I got there Wednesday morning, called her, no answer. Didn't hear from her until Thursday night when she let me know they were eloping. Asked her what was up, and her husband's sister had high school graduation Friday. When the graduation date was announced, they had asked her if they should push their date back a couple of days so she could attend. Apparently, for months, the sister has said she didn't want to attend it, but on Tuesday afternoon, she said she was and had her tickets, wanted a dinner and party Thursday and Friday. Turned into a whole fight for her husband's family. She told me that they had elopement as a backup plan in case his sister pulled something since she has a history of doing stuff like that. I'm not mad she eloped. I get why she did, and I didn't bring it up so she could enjoy her time. Only thing I told her was that I'd be going home early, since she was going to be gone most of my time there. When Jenna got home, she called and told me that they were going to do a makeup wedding and reception in 4 months, since they were able to postpone with their venue and most vendors. I told her no hard feelings, but I wouldn't be able to attend because I need to be saving up my leave and money after that bust. I also told her if she knew elopement was an option and she couldn't give me a heads up. The call didn't end on a good note. Her husband and both families have been telling me I should reconsider and show up. Most I'm willing to do is a sort of video call during her ceremony so I can be there. AITA? The date of the wedding itself isn't what became a fight, but rearranging events associated with the wedding to accommodate the sisters' wants. Decorating would have had to be done late Friday night or right before the wedding Saturday morning. Rehearsal, dinner, moved from Friday to Thursday. Sister wanted a graduation party. Her parents told them to make the graduation party and joint bachelorette party a blended party for Wednesday. That's the fighting that led to the eloping. Chinchilla tax, dog tax. She was very proud to have saved my friend's horses from the evil bear plush. NTA. You showed up for one wedding. No point in spending the same amount of money twice. NTA. You went above and beyond to be there for her original wedding date. It's a bit ridiculous that she knew it was possible it was going to end up eloping, but had you jumped through all those hoops, then expect you to do it again 4 months later.